Hi, Diego. Hi, Patrick. Just giving a few minutes for everyone to join. We'll start in a couple of minutes. Hi, Wade. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes tops. Just giving people time to join. We start in 3:02 in a few seconds. Okay. So, hi, everyone. How's everyone? Cool. We have another Functionlanders AMA session today. In this session, we briefly go through updates of the past month, and then we yield the stage to audience here to ask any questions. So at any time, if you had any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in or type in the chat. So updates on what's happening. The first interesting thing that's happening is next week we will be demoing uh, a rewrite of the app, of the FX Blocks app, to Rocketpool. So as you already all know, we have had some difficulties with the current FX Blocks app with in regards to maintenance and like adding features and stuff. Marco from the community was very kind to submit a much needed patch on the spelling issues that was there. But in general, we have some issues there that may warrant a complete rewrite. Um, and this rewrite would be in another language. So currently FX Blocks is in React Native. The new one will move to .NET MAUI framework. But we will only do this rewrite. So we only have a demo currently of it available. We will only do this rewrite if we get funding for the next thing that's gonna happen, and that is Rocketpool integration. So this demo we will be giving to Rocketpool, and the Rocketpool community will then decide if they give us a grant for further development of this app. And the idea is to add a new stack to blocks, and that is ETH mining. So that's the great news. The Ethereum mining will be joining us soon. The only point there is the current Ethereum clients, so they have consensus and execution layers there, require 32 gigabytes of RAM. The devices that Indiegogo backers have currently don't have 32 gigabytes of RAM. So either we'll have to find a lighter weight Ethereum client, collaborate with one of the mainstream upstream projects that can run on 8 gigabytes of RAM, or we will have to work with our 32 gigabyte version for the time being for Ethereum use case of Ethereum staking use case of Blocks devices. So that's the biggest updates. And also this month we'll be launching the testnet, as you know, and on that front, I can give you some demos. So share screen, entire screen 3. So what you're seeing on this page is Block Explorer and blocks being generated on the fly. So these are incoming blocks. This is the validator node for Fula. So there's this brand new website, Fula Network, and Functionyard is the name of our testnet. So the network for mainnet is Functionland. For testnet, we're calling it Functionyard, and we'll be bringing the org token, bringing back the Borg token for the testnet. So these are this is like the aggregator node. This is when your devices want to submit blocks, they will send it to these aggregator nodes. But this is exciting. So this means that as soon as we have the node on the node for the hardware ready, then this infrastructure for it is ready to go as well. And this should happen, fingers crossed, by end of this month. So that's the priority, number one. So I've seen that many people have posted questions on the support group, and people may feel that their questions are not being answered. And that's just a temporary measure. So we are not spending time on troubleshooting on the support group for this month, because we're allocating all resources to running the testnet and publishing the testnet live, go live for testnet. So that's where our efforts are laying. But by end of month, we will again, because then you will receive an OTA update on your backend that will run the node on your device, and that then there might be some more hiccups. So we will go full force on support mode and take it from there. So yeah, this is currently the Block Explorer. This is also the Docker file for the node. So if anyone is interested, I'll also post it in the chat here. To group send. Okay. So without saying too much more, I will leave it to the floor for now, and come back with more babbling if there's not that much questions. Hi, Kate. Have you been?
Yeah, well, thanks. Hi, Kayvon. Hi, Functionlanders. Second. Yeah, it's been a full on this week with conferences. So it was the Elevate Tech Festival happening here in Toronto. So it felt like all of Canada, lots of people from all over the world descended upon Toronto. And then we had lots of events with our accelerator that we're part of, the Innovation Boost Zone. So there was a deep tech expo that we were part of, and people are starting to be really interested in our hardware and what we've been able to do with such like efficient amounts of capital and resources. So you know, I'm not trying to position us as AI hardware, but that's definitely like what's being perceived here in York region and Toronto where we live. So we're looking at being part of a hardware pitch competition coming up, and there's a hardware catalyst initiative that's really starting to take notice of what we're working on. So went to lots of conferences around the place. Ehsan was also all sorts of different events and this week, so got to run into him a few times, so that was exciting. And I was at the Canadian Manufacturing Technology Show, so that's not as relevant, but for any of you robotic geeks, that was really fun and some really cutting edge stuff, but a lot of duplication. Everyone's just doing same old computer vision and stuff like that, and so it's exciting. But yeah, let's be back with blockchain and decentralized compute and storage.
Very cool. Yeah, on the artificial intelligence side, so one of the things that we got with the upgrade to the new Rockchip SoC is that this SoC has a neural engine on it. So it supports 6 tera operations on this current SoC, and we are not currently have any use case for it. So if you come around people who want to do like edge AI, that want to maybe utilize the nodes, and they can think of use cases. I was just explaining that we have this new concepts on the backend called stacks. So you can add a stack to your already functioning device. So everyone currently has like a fuller stack, but people can add this new Kate found AI stack developed by this other team that does some interesting AI thing. We also will be doing the rocket pool stack. Another protocol that we're talking to is SSV. So SSV, again, they have something called DVT, distributed validator technology. And that's the idea there is instead of a single node with 32 ETH deposits and being like a full Ethereum node, you can have multiple nodes with different amounts. It's pretty similar to what we have in Functionland's local pools. Join hands and stake together. So that can be very interesting too. We'll see where it goes. Demo with rocket pools is already scheduled for first week of October. SSV again, we will meet them in the month of October. Okay, so that's it. Another thing that has been in the works and is time to share it is this beauty. So we have now a Shopify site, and planning on Monday, we will go live with the opening the sales of the FX Blocks device for everyone. So we have some inventory left from the first batch that we made, but we can create devices in batches of 1,000 devices. So we've created this cool looking Shopify website for it. And as you can see, we have two variants. We have the FX Blocks Lite and the ETH edition. And the only difference between ETH edition and the Lite that you guys currently have is that ETH edition is 32 gigabytes of RAM, right? So one is this 32 gigabytes of RAM, and then it has 2 terabytes of NVMe storage, and the specific NVMe storage as well, because those are the requirements of current ETH clients. They need 8-core GPUs, which we have currently. They need 32 gigabytes of RAM. They need like 20 plus gigabytes of RAM. But as you know, these go in like exponents of 2. So it's 16, then there's 32. And then the NVMe storage there, which is like a specific breed, it needs to be DRAM less, which is like just a thing of SSDs for them to function. Another difference that this ETH edition specifically has is that it's a bit louder because it has another fan inside it for more active cooling for the CPU, because the current ETH nodes push the hardware to the limits, but like they use everything that our hardware has to offer, whereas our Fula nodes are very light. They probably spend like 1/10 of CPU resources are spent on Fula currently. But yeah, so this is the ETH edition, and we would only have them for pre-order now because we want the software to be ready first. So as I told you, we're applying for a grant for the software side, and that will include a rewrite of FX Blocks app if passed. If not, we will switch back to refactoring the current React Native FX Blocks app. But then these go for pre-order and a delivery date in Q2 next year. So the only difference here, as I said, is 32 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabytes of NVMe, and one extra fan from the device that you have. So this is the ETH edition. And then we've created this cool looking page for the edition that you guys have. So 8 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of SSD. This is that thing that people with XL have received already. And people with Lite orders on Indiegogo will receive the exact same thing minus the 1 terabyte SSD. So this will go for sale for $400 US. And then the 32 gigabyte version, which again is the same hardware, doesn't have the it's again SATA SSD, it's not NVMe, but it goes for $599. But this one is 32 gigabytes of RAM. This is, mind you, this is not the Ethereum edition. This doesn't have the NVMe, the specific DRAM-less type of NVMe, and it doesn't have the extra fan that Ethereum needs on the hardware. But this is just 32 gigabyte version of the hardware. Here we have the specs. We have like a teaser for Excel. Then we talk about use cases. So we talk about how people can use this as a desktop, a Linux desktop. We talk about FX files and FX photos. We mention here that these are still not like in development and they are not end user ready. But as you guys also know, and many have attempted, you can log into your device and install anything on it. So there is something called, I think, OpenVault that turns your device to a NAS. So that's like a Dropbox interface on web. These like all the open source stuff that are out there are already installable on the device. So people have connected like keyboard and mouse and everything. Or another example here is like media server. So things like Plex and Jellyfin. So if you have like an HDMI expansion card and connect it to your TV, you can get 4K output from it. And this is already a Netflix killer. You can run Jellyfin and somehow puts your downloaded videos, not downloaded, acquired videos, movies, stuff there, and then watch them from your TV. That's called a media server. And yep, that's the webpage, and this will be live next week for new people to join the ecosystem. So this would be the link that you give to fellows who are interested in getting a note where to buy from. It hasn't been possible till now. It will be possible next week. Okay, so I talked a lot again. So reading some questions here. Can we manually upgrade the current device to 32 gigabytes of RAM? Wait, yes, but you need a setup like what I have here, right? You need like a heat gun, and you need a microscope, and you need like complex PCB machinery, because what you need to do is these two ICs that you see here on the board. These are your RAM, right? And you need to lift these up, and in place of them, put the 16 gigabyte Micron alternative, and then your device will be 32 gigabytes of RAM. So this is one of the things that has been missing from the old days of desktop. So this stack that we're using is called low power stack, right? Things that are in smartphones, right? And one of the bad things about these is that RAMs are soldered. So if you want to upgrade RAMs on this stack, a low power stack. So for example, I'm saying low power, this is not DDR4, this is LPDDR4. So you need to unsolder it and then resolder the new RAMs. Doable, but for like people with complicated equipment. Yeah. So that was one question there. And we don't have any more questions in the chat currently. Checking if we have anything on the group. Yeah, so I see both on the group and on the FX support channel that we have some questions about like troubleshooting the setup. As I said, since there's no urgency for anyone to like get their device functioning right now, so there's no testnet live that you're falling behind on tokens or anything like that. our current suggestion is if you're stuck at one step, just wait for the timing. Don't do anything. There is an amazing walkthrough video uploaded by Marco, one of our community members. That's from zero to hero on setting up the device. He encounters many different problems that are also listed in the latest update and how to resolve them. So those two, the latest update on Indiegogo and Marco's video, are currently the only resource available for troubleshooting until end of October that we launch the testnet, and then we will jump back on with the team members on the support group again to help guys with any problems they may be facing. Okay, will testnet tokens be exchanged for mainnet tokens when it goes live? And if so, what is the ratio? Great question, Wade. Yes, for incentivized testnet pool. So we have testnet, and then we have a subset of people in testnet called the incentivized pool. So these are people who signed up on the mailing list, and before that, people who backed the Indiegogo campaign. Everyone in the Indiegogo campaign will be automatically included in the incentivized pool, and then we will select some members of some people who applied for the incentivized testnet pool. We received 180,000 requests for that, so we won't be able to accommodate all of them. So we don't know either of these things, how big the incentivized pool will be. So we are hoping to be able to accommodate a few thousands, but depends on the load. We will try in phases. So we first start only with Indiegogo backers, and then slowly add from the people who applied to the pool, and see how if nothing breaks, we may add, but there will be a cap. So we don't know the cap and we don't know the ratio yet. Neither of those things we don't know yet. And the ratio we won't know until mainnet goes live, and we will communicate with the community what the ratio would be. We will make that decision together. But yeah, there will be a transfer to again wrap up the answer to your question. There will be a transfer of tokens between testnet to mainnet only for the incentivized pool. So that was that. Any other questions? Do I have anything to? No. So on my end, I've given all the updates. If there are no further questions, we can conclude, and this would be one of the fastest AMAs that we had in a long while. But as you know, we are available 24/7 on Telegram. Just post your questions there, and one of the community managers will queue them, and we will get back to you guys as soon as you have questions. I'm seeing messages popping up in support group. So this is very as you can see here, people are, someone is like in the setup, they cannot see that someone had a problem with like a Google router. These are all issues that some of them will be like completely solved if we rewrite the app in the new language in .NET MAUI, because we will solve the problems from ground up there. But until end of October and testnet, there's gonna be you and the two videos and each other and us occasionally on the channels to solve these problems. But end of October, we will go full force on, because then we will also push the OTA update for the testnet. So we will move full force on support mode. Okay. I see. Is there any other chat messages? No. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure as always. A very efficient and quick AMA session. Catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.